on this Sunday morning, August 30th, 2009, with a look at the crowd gathered at Rockefeller Plaza this morning. This is Whitney Houston you're listening to now. The song is called Salute from her new CD, I Look to You, which is actually going to be released tomorrow outside of the plaza. I'm Jenna Wolf, along with Lester Holt, and still to come in this half hour, we're going to talk about Whitney's re-debut again, her new album coming out. She says, don't call it a comeback, but it's kind of what people are talking about, because it sort of is a comeback after everything she's been through.
Her first new album in 7 years, and she's had a lot of downs over the last several years, and so this is obviously a chance to sell some records again, but perhaps re-energize and restart her career. This could perhaps do the trick, and we're going to talk about that coming up.
In the 7 years since Whitney Houston released her last album, the headlines about her have focused on her personal problems instead of her music. Tomorrow, with the debut of her new album, the man who first discovered Whitney Houston and coaxed her back into the studio is hoping to change all that. Here's NBC's Chris Jansing.
In the 80s and 90s, the world was in love with Whitney Houston and her soaring vocals. In hit after chart-topping hit.
In her prime, the best voice out there. One of the best voices ever out there.
Houston's megawatt talent matched only by her beauty. It was a rapid rise to stardom, followed by a breathtaking fall. Houston's tumultuous personal life was splashed across the tabloids, missed concerts, rehab, a messy divorce from singer Bobby Brown. Now the 46-year-old pop superstar is poised for a comeback with the legendary producer who discovered her, Clive Davis.
I just picked up the phone and I called him one day and I said, you know, it's time to get back to work. She was a little stunned.
3.5 years later, Houston is about to release her first album in 7 years.
I look to you.
I Look to You is filled with songs of triumph over adversity, lyrics written by others but true to her life.
Is this emotional? Absolutely. Is this a personal feeling of gratification, apprehension, anxiety, concern as she gets into rigors? Yeah, very, very much so.
The reviews have mostly been good, including USA Today and Billboard, even while acknowledging that time and hard living have shaved some notes off that amazing range.
She can't reach for those E's and D's anymore like she used to, but nobody of her age can. And the great ones find ways around it.
Houston returns to a changed musical landscape, dominated by much younger singers: Miley, Taylor, Beyonce. But an online promotional video reminds the world of a Whitney so good, she sold 170 million albums, singles, and videos. Can her star rise again?
My mail would indicate that the world is rooting for Whitney Houston.
For today, Chris Jansing, NBC News, Beverly Hills.
Corey Murray is entertainment director at Essence Magazine, and NBC News contributor Teray joins us from Burbank. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for being with us. Corey, I want to start with you. You heard this new album. What kind of music is it, and how does she sound?
Her music is very R&B. I mean, she has a couple of songs that are definitely more pop-driven, but she sounds okay. I mean, she doesn't sound like the Whitney that we remember, especially off the Bodyguard soundtrack. There's no big numbers, no big songs that she doesn't hit that note that we all like sing in our shower. So, but it's a good album. You know, it's just good. It's not great.
You think if her fans liked her before, her fans will like this album as well?
Definitely. They're going to pick it up because she definitely has those 2 or 3 songs that really resonate, that really speaks to the troubles that she's been through, where she's going. My favorite song on the album is I Didn't Know My Own Strength, which really can be a gospel album. It could be R&B. I think it could even play on the pop stations, excuse me, and I think it just really encapsulates where she's gone.
Yeah, it sounds like she is singing from the heart. Teray, let me turn to you. Whitney sings on her album, Don't Call It a Comeback, I've Been Here for Years. She has been here for years, but she hasn't been singing for years. How is the music industry reacting to her work, or this newest work now?
Well, I mean, I think like many people, there's just a nervousness about what's going to happen to Whitney with this project. Her sales have been declining. 2 albums ago was 4 million records sold. Last album was 700,000. And now everybody's sales are in free fall. There's fewer places to expose a singer like this. The brand has been damaged by the reality show Being Bobby Brown, by the rampant stories about drug abuse, and you know, it's a difficult time for her to come back in terms of where her life has been the last few years, in terms of where the industry has been the last few years and where it is right now. It's just really, really difficult. I mean, I talked to her and she said, you know, when Clive called, she said she was thinking about buying her island home and leaving this whole rat race thing.
Right.
And it's kind of like, well, why didn't you do that? How could this be better than that, living on an island home? And she kind of misunderstood the question and was like, what are you talking about? Living in an island home is way better than this. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, then, Cord, let me ask you, based on what Troy said, yeah, she's had a rocky 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
The drug rehab since and the divorce from Bobby Brown. But is America ready to re-embrace her, not just her music, but the whole concept of Whitney Houston?
Oh, we love a comeback. I mean, think about, you know, Ike and Tina Turner. Like, we went out in droves to see What's Love Got to Do with It. I think we're all waiting. I think that's all we've been waiting for, is her to come back to finally realize, like, you are better than this guy. You know, be the diva that you were, you know, come back. So I think we're definitely ready for her to come back. I think there's one reason why, you know, Clive Davis was able to get like half the music industry in New York at Lincoln Center just to see her. You know what I mean? So I think we're all anxious for that.
Troy, one thing I did read was that she will not be giving many or any live interviews, and she's not going to really be touring at all. Why is that? Does she not want to put herself out there?
I mean, at her age, it's going to be difficult to do those big songs, that big note, use the voice the way she used to do night after night. She's going to need 2, 3, 4 nights to rest the voice before she can go again. So here's another problem for her. I mean, you know, at her age, it's hard to tour. You know, as I said, it's hard to get exposure. How do you pull new people into your tent when you can't go out and touch them at, you know, the Garden and the Staples Center, etc.? I mean, maybe we'll see her do 1 or 2 big dates, but you can't do a ton. And as record people are saying now, you know, you really have to pay attention to that instant messaging of Twitter and Facebook. If she goes to Radio City Music Hall even and doesn't have a perfect night, Twitter and the whole world tells you there's a problem, and then the whole brand starts to crumble down.
All right, well, Whitney Houston's new album comes out tomorrow. Corey Murray, thank you so much. Troy, thank you for joining us as well. And now, here's Les.